Chatting with Brandon Woodruff. Hey, Brandon, man, what a crazy time that we're in right now. Obviously, everybody would like to be playing baseball at the time being, but what are you up to these days? You're back in Mississippi, I understand.
Yeah, super crazy times. Right now, just back home following, some of the weight training programs the Brewers have sent to us, and um, just trying to stay in shape and still feel pretty good. The arm feels good. We got built up. I think we had probably 2 weeks, two outings left there before spring was over. So um, feeling good, just trying to keep all that going and, playing some catch, throwing a, bullpen once a week or something like that, something light. And just trying to wait on some good news to kind of learn when, we can, or if we can get the season started back up. That way we can start getting ramped up and get ready to play.
Have you been able to stay in touch with Chris Hook and Steve Carsey and the rest of the pitching staff?
Yeah, I've done a few calls and text and stuff with them, and still stay in contact with a lot of the guys. And I like to think that I'm pretty good at doing that. Reaching out and talking to some guys. So it's been good. But I've had a few conversations with Hookie and still trying to um, you know do some stuff, work on some stuff I think I can get better at. And so I've had a few conversations with him.
Again, the beauty of this whole thing is that, and it's a real shame that we were so close to getting going. Major League Baseball is getting going. The Brewers are ready to go. There's a lot of positivity. But one of the positives of this is that we can go back and look at things that have happened in the past and go back to the future a little bit. So for you, 2018 was a really interesting season. You're up and down a little bit, but you really established yourself late in that season. Just take me through 2018 and what it was like for you.
Yeah, I think, looking back on 2018 now, knowing some stuff that I know, it probably worked out where coming out of spring training, I really didn't know if I was going to break with the club. There was a few, I guess, injuries that happened there late that, looking back now, that probably allowed me to make that club, and was very fortunate to be able to do that and have my first, opening day experience. And I think that alone kind of helped me, kind of jumpstart a little bit into that year. Struggled just a little bit, and then I think I had one start and then was sent down, and it kind of caught me by surprise. I didn't really understand, I guess, the whole process with the optioning and stuff like that, because I'd just gotten called up the year before, and was up for I guess a couple months there. And I think I really, at one point, I just had to sit back and say, hey, this is probably going to be my year with going up and down. And I really just have to concentrate on, when I'm down in AAA, just getting better, trying to refine some things. And then when I get called up and get my chance and opportunity, I can, try to take advantage of that. And that's when I really started to, I guess, kind of come to peace with it, because it's not fun. It's not fun going up and down. But you have to realize that it's part of that learning curve. It's part of, hey, I probably need to get better at some things. And it's just part of, I guess, every baseball player's journey. You have to do it. So I think really kind of late in that season in 18, I picked up a two-seamer. I pitched that I had kind of thrown in high school and college, and kind of took off of that. And once September rolled around, I knew I couldn't get sent down. So I kind of told myself it's kind of go time. Let's kind of lock it in and try to go out and take advantage of this opportunity. So fortunately, September went well. I think I gave up a run in all of September, and then crazy thing was we get to the play. We're about to play Colorado in the first series, and they're calling some guys in for, tell them they're not going to be on the playoff roster, stick around and stuff. And I'm like, man, I honestly, I don't know if I'm going to make this roster. I really didn't. And then it gets real late, and Craig, he calls me into his office, and I'm like, dang, like I didn't make the cut. And he calls me in, and we're just talking a little bit, and he's like, "Hey, look," he's like, "You're going to start game 1 tomorrow. He's like, just go out there and do your thing. We'll get you when the time's right." And it threw me by total surprise, and I was excited. And then, it all kind of sunk in. And I was like, holy crap, like, all this stuff I've been through this year, and now I'm getting to start game 1 of, the division series. And it was such a cool moment for me. And then, being able to tell my wife and parents and stuff. And, fortunately went out, worked out, and did well and tried to, help the team win. But that's what it mostly came down to towards the end. Was it didn't matter what role you were in. It was just all hands on deck. And we're just trying to win ball games. You kind of put the ego aside. That's on the, back end of everything. And you just go out and try to win ball games. And I think that's what made it so fun and so special for that year is everybody was just pulling for everybody. And it was, we ended up having a good run there.
You mentioned the wave of emotions. You go into Craig's office and you don't know whether you're just wearing a sweatshirt and a hoodie for the playoffs. And then he tells you got the ball in game 1. Like that for me, that's my head's going to explode.
Yeah. I kind of looked at him like, really? Like, are you playing a joke on me? No. But no, it was cool. That was, he was just like, you've shown us, this month of September that, you deserve to go out there and start. And they had a plan all along, just something they wanted to do to try to get a guy that was, for me, I was kind of stretched out to those multiple innings, and I was able to kind of bridge that gap, to get to Hader and Burns and Corey and Jeffress and a lot of those guys towards the back end. So, I was just fortunate to be able to go out there and do that. And, a heck of an experience being able to, because once playoffs start, it's a total different atmosphere. It's a total different kind of a switch kind of flips there. And the fans are pretty crazy. And the playoff, there's nothing like playoff baseball for sure.
All right. So the Brewers advance, they sweep the Colorado Rockies, go to the NLCS. You didn't start any games, but you played a pretty big role, especially in game 1. So Gio gets the ball in game 1 against Clayton Kershaw. He goes 2 innings, and then you get the ball. Yeah. You throw really well, but what everybody remembers is you're at bat against Clayton Kershaw. Hit a big home run. Brent Suter hit a home run off of Corey Kluber earlier in the year. So then you take Kershaw deep. Take me through the at-bat and what was going on in your mind early in the game. The Brewers were down 1-0 at the time. So not only was it just a home run in general, it was a big home run, too, to get the Brewers back in the game.
Yeah. So at the beginning of the game, coming out into the dugout before the game started, Craig had just kind of mentioned – he told a couple of us to kind of, be ready early on. Didn't really know what that entailed, just kind of – I knew I was ready to go from pitch 1. So, Gio did a really good, job getting us off on the right foot, starting that game. And then, they made the call down and said I had the 3rd inning, and I just remember getting ready and coming out and was able to have a clean inning there in the 3rd inning, and then the bottom of the 3rd rolls around, and I didn't know if I was going to get the hit. I didn't know if my spot, if he was going to if Craig was going to hit for me or not. And so, they're going to let me hit. And Craig he's like, hey, he's like, you never faced him. Just kind of, take a pitch, take the first pitch, try to see his, get his timing a little bit. And fortunately, the first pitch was a ball. And then I just remember him throwing, 2 fastballs that were painted down in a way that looked to me like a ball, like I could not get to him. And if Clayton's game, he likes to, he can dot that outside corner, to his glove side. And so it gets to 2 strikes, and I'm just kind of telling myself, just all I wanted to do as a pitcher was just try to make him work and try to make him, throw as many pitches as possible. So it was 1-2. He throws a curveball, and everybody likes to say, man, you took that curveball, like, you know what I mean? Like, no, it fooled me completely. Like, you can watch the video, and it, like, my body totally goes one way, and, I was totally fooled, but good thing it was a ball, And I'd never seen anything like that. I mean, it just, dropped straight out of the clouds. It was nasty. And so then it gets 2-2, and I just remember, kind of stepping out for a second and kind of was just like, let's do anything, just get the foot down, try to foul him off, try to make him work. So then the next pitch was a fastball, a little more, I guess, on the outer half of the plate, and I fouled it straight back. And so I was like, do the same thing, just try to foul him off, make him work. And, next pitch was fastball that was a little more on the plate and was able to put a good swing on it. And I just remember, you kind of have these moments where you kind of blank out a little bit, but I can remember hitting the baseball and not really feeling anything. You know what I mean? Just, it was a good feeling. I kind of looked at Bellinger in center, and I'm watching him take off. And you can kind of, in the video, you can kind of see my eyes going up and down trying to watch. And as soon as I see him pull up, that's when I knew the ball was going to be gone. And I can remember just kind of, that's about the time I hit first base. And when I did that, it kind of just one of those blank out moments. You just kind of, you can't really control yourself. You don't really remember that moment. You don't even hear the crowd. I didn't even hear anything. It was just, I thought, a crucial time in the game. And I was just like, man, I just went wild. I didn't really know why. I mean, I know why now, but it was just one of those crazy moments, so, and then it just kind of was fortunate enough. I was able, I get into the dugout and go through the gauntlet in the dugout, and everybody's going crazy. And Curtis Granderson comes up to me. He's like, hey, I know you just hit the biggest home run of your life, but he's like, you got to pitch, go, back in the clubhouse, sit down and take your breath. And I think that was probably the biggest, help and advice. Curtis being around for such a long time, and then him coming up and calming me down, because I was going, 100-0, after that. And so I was able to kind of catch my breath, and then, thankfully I went out there and struck out the side the next inning. So, but I try to tell people, man, I just want to be remembered for more of the pitching side of it instead of the home run. But I'll take the home run. That was a pretty cool experience, and was I'm fortunate that I was able to do that and be put in that position.
And 2 scoreless innings with 4 strikeouts in that game, like you said, struck out the side in the 4th when he came back out. I think about this, 2 things. One, when I was watching you, because I called the home run, and it was. I went nuts, and it was fun. It was a great moment for me. But watching you run around the bases, I don't think your feet ever touched the ground. And it probably felt that way too. And I sit back and I look too, and John Smoltz, I think, said it on the television broadcast. Imagine if he hit that with 2 outs. And Curtis Granderson didn't have that. Like, you let off the inning and hit the home run, but what happens if there's 2 outs? Your body is going crazy.
Oh, no. And thankfully we were able to kind of get we got a little rally there and was able to score a few runs, so that bought me some extra time. But I think about that too. Like, if there was 2 outs and we ended up, if there was a first pitch out or something, real quick like that happened, I'd probably still be, in the dugout going crazy and not even know what's going on, and having to go back out there and pitch and trying to calm myself down and being able to focus. And that would have been tough. But yeah, as soon as I made my way to the end of the line, Curtis was the first person. He came up and was like, hey, man, he's like, go back here and chill out. You got to go pitch. So just a veteran guy that was, helping a young guy out. So, yeah, pretty crazy if you kind of think about it.
This is a cool moment. I want to ask you one more thing about that series in Game 5.
Yeah.
So everybody remembers that as Wade Miley goes out and pitches to one batter, and then here comes Brandon Woodruff. Nobody knew about the plan. Like, how much notice did you have about the plan?
All right. So Game 4, I think, I can't remember how many innings. Was it 13 or 14?
Right.
Yep. Whatever we went into the night before. And in my mind, Gio's throwing again that game. So I just thrown after him in Game 1. I was ready to go that game, and I 100% without a doubt, I knew I was going to throw. Mm-hmm. I think Freddie ended up coming in second when Gio rolled his ankle or whatever, and pitched fantastic. Like saved that game, when he came in and pitched really well. And heck, the whole pitching staff, that whole series was, the best we'd thrown the ball all year, I believe. And so I'm sitting there, and we keep going. I think Corey and Hader and Jeffers and some of these guys have thought this was like their third day in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I'm definitely throwing in this game. So I'm getting ready and just staying ready each inning, and the phone rings every time, and my name's not called. So I'm like, okay, this is getting pretty crazy. So it's down to me. And I think I ended up warming up there late in the game, and I think we got having a jam or whatever, and ended up, winning the game, or got walked off, and so I'm sitting in the bullpen. I'm by myself, and I'm like, well, looks like I'm going to pitch tomorrow,
Yeah.
So, and at that moment, I don't think there was a plan, but I kind of knew what was going on. I knew that I was going to throw the next day. So then, next day rolls around. Craig comes up to me and tells me, hey, Wade's going to start, but you're going to come in, right after the first batter. He's facing one hitter, and then you're coming in. And I kind of knew it. I kind of, heard him, Wade. They were trying to figure out if Wade was going to start, what they were going to do to try to, get their lineup set in a certain way. And so once he told me, I kind of already kind of knew what was going on, but he just he confirmed it. And so Wade's in the bullpen warming up, and you can walk out a back way to get to the bullpen and at Dodger Stadium. And I'm sitting there stretching. I'm watching Wade throw his pregame bullpen, and not many people know that, but I'm sitting there watching him. And as soon as he walks out to the field, I stay in the tunnel. I'm staying loose because I wanted to wait till the managers exchange lineup cards and get the lineup set, that way if something happened, they couldn't just swap somebody out. They see me out there warming up. So as soon as that happened, I walked out, started playing catch, getting warm and loose. And then Wade faced one batter, and it was Bellinger, I believe. And I think he walked him. And I remember coming into that day knowing that I've got to go for the long haul. I've got to eat up some innings. And I remember running out to the mound, and I told myself, it doesn't matter what happens today. Treat each pitch with 100% conviction, and give it your best and see what happens. And thankfully I went out there and was able to. I think I got a double play there in that first inning. It kind of got me out of that inning, and was able to kind of settle in and eat up some innings, and we had a chance to win that ball game. And pretty crazy how it all kind of just works out. And so that's kind of the story behind Game 5.
That's wild, because we didn't know. I mean, it was a tight turnaround, because it was a late game for Game 4. It goes extra innings, and we've got the day game for Game 5, and it's tight. Everybody's kind of up. All right, Wade's going to go. Yeah. And then the way that the sun comes in from Dodger Stadium, we couldn't see the bullpen from where we were. And nobody's looking in the bullpen, because, okay, you got your starter out there and you're going to get after it. And then we see Craig walk out of the dugout, and we go, what's happening? Is he hurt? Oh, Woody's coming in.
Yep.
Here we go.
Here comes Woody jogging in after the first batter in Game 5.
And then Wade got the ball in Game 6 and threw great.
Yep. So he knew, I think he was kind of on that day where it was like a 3-day rest or 4. So they were trying to figure out if they were going to start him and let him do that. And I think he was on board with it. So he did it. But yeah, then I think he was on 1-day short rest or something for that next game. It ended up going really well. So, just that time of year where it's like, man, you just do whatever you can to win a ball game. And that's kind of one of those moments.
It was crazy. Well, I don't want to take up much more of your time, but away from baseball, again, you're trying to keep yourself loose and whatnot, but you and your wife expecting baby number 1.
Yeah, expecting baby number 1. We're pretty excited. Little girl, so we're trying to get things ready around here, and it's exciting, and we can't wait for her to get here, and we're just getting ready for that.
Projects that you thought you weren't going to get to until later on, but now they're getting finished right now.
That's right. I've been you can kind of look at this whole thing as and it is a terrible thing with the coronavirus and kind of how it's shut everybody down. But I've never been home this time of year in probably 10 years. So I'm able to spend some of that extra time with my wife, my parents, and doing little things around the house, getting to go turkey hunting really for the first time. And that's something I didn't get to do because we're always playing baseball. So very fortunate for that time. And I've, caught spring in Arizona, and I'm catching spring here in Mississippi. So I've gotten some good weather. So it's been good.
Well, Brandon, we appreciate you taking a couple of minutes with us. Stay in shape, and hopefully we'll be talking about some live baseball here pretty soon.
Yeah, I can't wait. Thanks for having me.
You got it, man.